Marcus Chun never expected his routine cargo, run to the mining colony of Kepler 442b, would change the course of interspecies relations forever. The human freight pilot was 3 days into what should have been a simple delivery when the emergency. Beacons started screaming across all frequencies. The Vorthic settlement of New Harmony was burning. Marcus had heard about the Vorthic 8-foot-tall, heavily armored reptilian beings with natural flame-resistant scales and a warrior culture. That made Spartans look like pacifists. They were the Galactic Council's premier firefighting specialists, their biology perfectly adapted to handle infernos that would kill most other species instantly. If their settlement was burning badly enough to send distress signals, something had gone catastrophically wrong. The rational choice would have been to relay the message to the nearest Council emergency response team and continue on his route. Marcus was just a cargo hauler, not a rescue specialist. His ship, the Lucky Strike, wasn't equipped for emergency operations. But as he monitored the transmissions, Marcus heard something that made his blood run cold. High-pitched keening sounds mixed with the adult Vorthic voices. Younglings were trapped in the fire. Marcus banked hard toward the planet's surface. The scene that greeted him was apocalyptic. New Harmony stretched across a volcanic plain, its buildings constructed from heat-resistant materials that should have made fire impossible. Instead, some kind of chemical explosion had created a blaze that burned hot enough to overwhelm even Vorthic physiology. Adult Vorthics, beings who could walk through lava, were being forced back by flames that glowed white-hot. Marcus suited up in his emergency gear standard human firefighting equipment that was laughably inadequate by Vorthic standards. But, as he studied the settlement layout through his ship's sensors, he spotted something the Vorthics had missed. A secondary service tunnel, too small for their massive frames, led directly under the nursery building where the younglings were trapped. Tunnel was barely wide enough for a human. Without hesitation, Marcus grabbed every piece of cooling equipment from his ship's systems, jury-rigged the portable life support unit, and crawled into hell. The heat was unbearable even with his gear. By the time he reached the nursery sublevel, his suit's cooling system was failing, and warning lights flashed across his visor. Above him, he could hear the terrified cries of young Vorthic sounds no being should ever have to make. Marcus found the maintenance shaft that led up into the building. The metal was so hot it glowed, but he forced himself to climb. His gloves began to smoke. The suit's temperature readings went into the red zone dot in the nursery. He found them, 12 Vorthic younglings, each no bigger than a human child, despite their species' eventual massive size. Their natural armor was still soft, their fire resistance not yet fully developed. They huddled together in the center of the room as flames licked at the walls around them. Marcus had one cooling unit left, enough to create a small bubble of survival temperature. Not enough for all of them, not even close, but he had something else, human stubbornness. One by one, Marcus wrapped the younglings in strips torn from his own suit, sacrificing his protection to shield them. He activated his last cooling unit and herded them toward the maintenance shaft. The first youngling, barely able to walk, looked up at him with large, frightened eyes. "It's okay," Marcus whispered, his voice harsh through the failing comm system. "Uncle's got you." The descent was a nightmare. Marcus's exposed skin blistered from the heat. His oxygen reserves dropped dangerously low. But he kept moving, pushing the younglings ahead of him through the tunnel, his body shielding them from the worst of the heat radiating through the metal walls. When they finally emerged from the service tunnel, the assembled Vorthic rescue teams fell silent. Marcus collapsed, his suit smoking, third-degree burns covering 60% of his body. But all 12 younglings were alive. The largest Vorthic, clearly a leader, approached the unconscious human. In their culture, those who saved younglings were given the highest honor. They became family. But Marcus had done something unprecedented. He had sacrificed his own fire protection to save their young, walking into flames that would have killed him instantly if not for his courage and ingenuity. The Vorthic leader knelt beside Marcus and spoke a single word in his species. ancient tongue, Thakmer, Uncle Death. Not because he brought death, but because he had faced it unflinchingly. For their children, when Marcus woke up 3 weeks later in a council medical facility, he found his hospital room filled with gifts from across vortex space. Representatives from dozens of their worlds had come to pay respects. The youngling he had carried out first, a female named Veritalk, had refused to leave his bedside. "Thakmer," she said when she saw him awake, her young voice filled with reverence. Marcus learned that the Vortic had declared him an honorary member of their species. More than that, every Vortic in the galaxy now considered him family. They had adopted him into their entire civilization. "Why do they call me Uncle Death?" Marcus asked the translator. "Because," came the reply, "you walked into Death's domain and brought back life. In Vortic culture, only the bravest warriors earn such a name. You are the first non-Vortic ever to receive this honor." Marcus looked at little Veritalk, who had climbed onto his hospital bed despite being nearly his size already. "I just did what anyone would do." The translator spoke with the adult Vortex present, then turned back with an expression of amazement. "They say that is exactly why you are family now. Because to you, saving children isn't heroic, it's simply what must be done." 6 months later, Marcus returned to his cargo runs, but everything had changed. At every station, Vortic crews would stop their work to salute him. His ship's manifest was always processed first. When pirates tried to board the Lucky Strike near the Outer Rim, they found 12 fully armed Vortic warriors waiting for them, Veritalk's older siblings, who had appointed themselves his permanent escort. Marcus Chun had saved one youngling from a fire. In return, he had gained the protection, respect, and love of an entire species. The galaxy learned something that day about humanity. When children were in danger, a human would walk through hell itself to bring them home, and the Vortex made sure the galaxy never forgot their Uncle Death, the cargo pilot who taught them that sometimes the greatest warriors come in the smallest packages.